Good afternoon, I'm Sean Yao and this is One News Now. Environment Secretary Roy Cimatu is now in Cebu after President Duterte ordered him to oversee the government's COVID-19 response in the Queen City of the South. And while the country is still in the middle of the pandemic, the president says that fighting terrorism should stay on top of the country's priorities. Maricel Halili with the story.
Now is not the time for blame game. This was the president's message in his address Monday evening after he expressed alarm over the rise in COVID cases in Cebu City. He said that overconfidence and complacency of Cebuanos are the reasons for the increase in the number of infections. This prompted the president to order Environment Secretary Roy Cimatu to oversee the COVID-19 response in Cebu City.
Nonetheless, kaya natin yan. And, I am sure Cimatu, he cannot solve the problem on his own. He has just to make recommendations and let us know what we should be doing. And that is very important.
I fully accept your challenge you gave for Cebu, Mr. President.
Cebu City has been reverted to enhanced community quarantine as it has recorded more than 4,000 COVID cases. The president did not name names, but for him, it seems that Cebu has ignored the situation. Meanwhile, President Duterte expressed confidence on the integrity of his appointed officials, including Health Secretary Francisco Duque. This after the Ombudsman initiated an investigation against the Health Department for the delayed procurement of PPEs and distribution of assistance to fallen healthcare workers, among other issues.
With due respect to the Ombudsman, the Honorable Martires, iniimbestiga pa niya. Pero kung ako lang ang tanungin, kung ako ang imbestigahin niya, di mapunta talaga sabihin ko na I believed in the honesty and integrity of my people.
Duque explained to the president that the DOH is not late in procuring PPEs for health workers since the government had ordered PPEs as early as February.
Kasi nga po, at that time, marami na po mga ibang mga bansa na nauna po sa atin dahil nauna rin po sila nagkaroon ng mga kaso ng COVID-19 cases.
Amid the pandemic, Duterte says one of the country's top problems remains to be terrorism.
Terrorism is number one in our list. Actually, the number one threat to the country, hindi Abu Sayyaf, hindi yung mga terorista of no value. Itong high value targets, ito yung mga komunista. Kaya ang utos ko talaga sa armed forces, sa sundalo, pakan mo. Pakan mo.
His legal team is now reviewing the anti-terror law submitted by Congress. For News 5, Maricel Halili, we are One News.
And in the IATF briefing earlier this afternoon in Cebu, Cimatu says they are considering implementing further lockdowns in sitio or barangay levels in order to stem the spread of the virus, particularly in Cebu City and Talisay. Cimatu notes that Barangay Mambaling in Cebu City still has the highest number of COVID-19 cases in the province. And the road to a new normal may still be far ahead, according to Malacanang. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the interagency task force approved a recalibration of current parameters which define the country's quarantine levels. Under the new protocol, areas considered high risk will be put under ECQ or modified ECQ. Meanwhile, moderate risk areas will be either under GCQ or modified GCQ, while MGCQ will also cover low risk areas. Roque said case doubling time and the critical care utilization rates remain the basis for such classifications. And as to how long these quarantine categories will be used, Palace says it will depend on the country's COVID-19 figures.
Sa ngayon po, wala mo ng new normal. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng lugar sa Pilipinas, meron pa rin pong community quarantine. No? Sa ngayon po, ganyan po ang napagkasunduan. No? But that's not permanent po. Kasi naman, habang nagmi-meeting ang IATF, nababago po ang kanilang mga guidelines.
And government also raised its daily testing capacity goal to 50,000. That is up from its previous target of 30,000 tests per day, which the government said has already been achieved last month. The spokesperson added that there are at least 5 ongoing bids for over 15,000 test kits. And with classes set to resume in August, the Education Department is noting a decline in private school enrollees. However, according to Education Secretary Leonor Briones, that's because some private universities and colleges have yet to start the enrollment period as their school year starts in September. The DepEd also warns against the purchase of unaccredited learning materials sold online, as some of these do not go through curriculum review.
Importante yung content kasi hindi naman hindi natin nare-review, hindi natin makikita kung tugma yan. Dahil yung ating mga learning materials, mga teachers tumutulong sa paggawa ng mga modules na ito. Actually, galing sa kanila itong mga modules na ginagamit natin.
And operators of public utility vehicles are calling for additional stimulus as strict transportation protocols cause them to earn less than half of what they used to take home. Gerard de la Peña has more in this report.
Despite the resumption of their operations, business still hasn't been good for transport cooperatives. On Roses Avenue in Quezon City, modern PUV operators said they only earned 900 pesos per unit on Monday, a fraction of the 3,000 pesos that they used to earn before the lockdown. And their second day back on the road is proving to be more challenging.
Nung nalaman ng mga pasahero namin, medyo marami pong sumakay. Sa ngayon po, nung nalaman nila na yung connection, wala silang masakyan papunta sa trabaho nila, medyo humina po ng pasahero ngayon. Halos wala po talagang kinita yung unit namin sa krudo lang. Pasahod sa mga empleyado namin, sa driver namin. So, hindi pa rin talaga kumikita yung biyahe ngayon namin.
And since not all PUVs are allowed to ply the roads, commuting remains tough.
Mahirap, dahil limited eh. Tapos yung passengers pa hindi 100%, di ba? So it's 50%. So meaning, talagang huwag ka lalabas pa rin. Kung lalabas ka, sulit dapat.
Maaga po akong umalis, natatagalan po akong sumakay. Kaya ang ginagawa ko, naglalakad lang po ako. Mas convenience po kasi sa akin.
But with an increase in the volume of commuters under GCQ, the Transportation Department has allowed additional passenger buses. Out of 31 routes designated for buses, 30 are already opened and only the EDSA Carousel route remains inaccessible. The department earlier said more PUVs will be allowed to operate in the coming days after the routes are rationalized. The DOTR also told transport cooperatives to raise their concerns to the LTFRB.
Kung nahihirapan sila, dapat i-abiso nila sa LTFRB na ganito karami ang pasahero dyan o walang pasahero na maapektuhan yung kanilang revenue stream. No? Yun ang doon eh. Kasi bakit naman namin isusulong sila doon kung hindi sila kikita? Mga nahulugan pag hindi sila kumita, hindi sila makakabayad sa bangko.
But some groups say it's impossible to earn if regulations only allow for a 50% capacity. They're asking for government subsidy.
Ang ating national government ay subsidize ang aming kurudo para matulungan kami. Sapagkat gagaya nga niyan sa new normal operation, 50% ng pasaheros lang may sasakay mo.
The Transportation Department said the matter is already in the hands of legislators should they approve the economic stimulus bill. For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, we are One News.
We're pausing for a quick break, but we will be back with more stories after that. Keep it here on One News. watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. The Health Department reports a record high number of 1,150 new COVID-19 cases. And this brings the total number of COVID-19 cases to over 31,800. Of the new cases recorded, almost 790 are fresh, while around 360 were tagged as late. The COVID-19 death toll in the country now stands at around 1,180, with 9 new deaths recorded today. Meanwhile, almost 300 people have recovered from the virus in the past 24 hours, and this brings the total recoveries to over 8,400. And despite that new surge in cases, the Health Department insists that indicators point to the curve already flattening. However, Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeri says that is not the case across the country, as some areas are still posting a spike in local infections, just like in Cebu City. She also noted that the national healthcare system is still not overwhelmed, as the current critical utilization rate stands at around 35 to 36%. The DOH also recorded a longer COVID-19 case doubling time at 7.26 days. And 2 in 5 Filipinos expect their lives to worsen in the next 12 months. That's according to the latest SWS mobile survey, wherein 43% of Filipinos were tagged as pessimists. Only 24% of respondents said that they expect their lives to improve, while another 24% do not expect any change in their quality of life. The previous all-time high was back in March 2005, with 34% expecting life to worsen. That was the same year the Camp Bagong Diwa siege, the Hello Garci scandal, and the Valentine's Day bombings. And big businesses are also doing their part to halt the spread of the virus. Apart from complying with local government protocols, Filipinas Shell says that their employees go through temperature checks. They've also provided them with personal protective equipment or PPEs. Meanwhile, 7-Eleven Philippines has rolled out its online grocery shop, which allows customers to just pick up their goods or have them delivered to their houses the next day. The convenience store chain is also shifting to cashless transactions. And dine-in services in restaurants have been given the green light to operate longer hours or until 9 p.m. Joining us now is News 5's Camille Samonte, who is live in Quezon City to tell us more. Camille, how are establishments there getting ready so far for this 9 p.m. deadline curfew or what have you?
Sean, as more restaurants resume dine-in services, the Quezon City LGU is imposing stricter guidelines among the establishments to ensure the protection of both customers and workers. But it turns out the 30% threshold for most dine-in operation has been hard to achieve for most food stores. It's been a week since the government allowed restaurants to open at 30% capacity, but reaching even half of this rate is tough work. Lunchtime used to be peak hours for restaurants pre-COVID, but now customers are barely there.
Kumpara noon, ma'am, ang laki po talaga ng binaba ng customer namin, parang umunti talaga siya. Naninibago, ma'am, kasi dati gantong oras may tao rin po eh. Marami na po yung anim.
Customers who dine in take extra precautions.
Bihira lang eh, kasi syempre hindi pa rin tayo sure dun sa safety. Pero since favorite ko to, pupunta talaga ako rito to dine.
Some restaurants now had to adjust operations to cater to pickups and online deliveries as most customers prefer these services. Restaurants also limit the food they prepare to avoid waste. To help restaurants, Malacanang has allowed dine-in operations in GCQ areas to be extended until 9 p.m. The Trade Department has also been offering loans to micro and small businesses. Over in Quezon City, the local government inspected some restaurants to determine whether they are adhering to health and safety protocols. One milk tea shop in Maginhawa was given a notice of violation. Authorities say the shop had not been checking the temperature of their customers and staff. There were also no social distancing markers in their waiting area. The Quezon City LGU warned that all restaurants found to be non-compliant with safety standards may be suspended. Sean, QC officials say the inspection will continue in the coming days. This will include eateries. This after some residents complained that there were eateries that failed to implement social distancing rules in their premises. Sean?
All right, thank you very much for that update. News 5's Camille Samonte reporting to us live from Quezon City. And Malacanang says it respects the Supreme Court's decision to dismiss the co-warranto petition filed by the Solicitor General against ABS-CBN Corporation. Palace spokesman Harry Roque says they leave it to the Sol Gen Jose Calida to decide on his next legal steps. And as for the network's franchise renewal, Roque is leaving it all up to Congress. Lawmakers are set to resume hearings on ABS-CBN's franchise bid on June 29. Meanwhile, the co-warranto petition against ABS-CBN Convergence, a subsidiary of the network, is still pending before the SC. For more updates, follow News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. And you can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Simply register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Sean Yao, and we are One News.